My dad asked why I refused to take his last name for my own kids. Should I tell him? When I was 16, I found out why my dad was so obsessed with family legacy and carrying on the family name. It started during my junior year when I needed my birth certificate for a college application. Dad got this weird look on his face and said he'd handle it himself. That was strange because he usually made me do everything myself, claiming it would build character. A few weeks later, I was helping him clean out Grandpa's attic when I found a box of old legal documents shoved behind some Christmas decorations. Birth certificates, adoption papers, court records. My hands were shaking as I read through them. That's when I discovered the truth. My dad wasn't actually a biological member of our family. He was adopted at 3 years old after his real parents died in a car crash. The prestigious family name he's so proud of, the generational wealth he brags about, the family business legacy he inherited, none of it was originally his, but the documents revealed something even more disturbing. His real parents, Michael and Anna Kowalski, had left him a substantial inheritance, property, savings, family heirlooms. Everything had been liquidated by the state and placed in a trust fund that he'd accessed at 18. He'd used their money to fund his family business ventures. I kept digging through the papers. There were letters from relatives on his biological side who'd tried to maintain contact. Aunts, uncles, cousins who wanted to know their nephew. Pictures of family reunions he'd never attended. Birthday cards returned to sender. Here's the twisted part. He'd spent 30 years systematically cutting ties with anyone who knew the truth. He moved us across the country when I was 8, claiming it was for better opportunities. We changed our address multiple times, even within the same city. He even blocked my grandma's sister, who tried to stay in touch, telling her we'd moved and didn't leave a forwarding address. I found emails he'd sent to genealogy websites, paying them to remove his biological family connections from public records. He'd hired a lawyer to seal his adoption records. There were receipts for document shredding services, multiple storage units he'd rented and emptied over the years. The most heartbreaking discovery was a letter from his biological aunt, written just 5 years ago. She'd been searching for him, wanting to share family photos and stories about his parents. She'd written, "Michael, we just want you to know who you really are. Your parents were good people who loved you deeply." He'd never responded. Instead, I found a restraining order he'd filed against her for harassment. Every family gathering, he'd tell the same stories about our ancestral home, our family traditions, our bloodline legacy. All lies. He was performing someone else's heritage while actively erasing his own. The business he claimed was generational was actually started with his biological parents' life insurance money. The family property he bragged about was purchased with their estate funds. Even the family ring he wore had belonged to his adoptive father, not some centuries-old ancestor. I started understanding why he was so paranoid about family photos, why he'd get angry when people asked detailed questions about our family history, why he'd never let me do those ancestry DNA tests that were popular with my friends. Yesterday, he cornered me again about the name thing, standing in the same kitchen where he told countless fabricated stories about our family's heritage. This family name means everything. You can't let it die with you. Think about the legacy, the tradition, the honor of carrying it forward. I looked at him calmly. "You mean the name you stole?" His face went white. "I found the adoption papers, Dad. I know about your real parents, the Kowalskis. I know about the inheritance you used to build your fake legacy." He started stammering. "That doesn't matter. I was raised here. This family took me in. So you built your entire identity on erasing someone else's family to claim theirs. And now you want me to continue that lie?" The silence was deafening. "My kids are getting the name Kowalski, your original family name, the one you were actually born with." He broke down completely. "You can't do that. No one will understand the connection." "Exactly. Just like how you made sure no one could connect you to your real heritage." He spent decades running from his authentic identity to claim a borrowed one. Now his grandchildren will carry the name he tried so hard to bury.